What's it like playing Japanese venues? Brilliant. Does the language barrier between the crew and the venue cause any problems? No. Surprisingly not. Japanese venues are fantastic. Even when you play these supposedly shitty punk clubs, they're gorgeous. The toilets work. There's maybe graffiti on stickers all over the walls, but everything works. Everything's clean. And Japanese crews, it was from the first time I ever went there, I just couldn't believe how they can get it together so well and we can't. But I remember doing the show and our crew came back after the show, had a quick drink, went back to tidy all the gear off the stage, and within the time they came back, had a drink and went back to move the gear was gone and the audience had left. And what they do, it takes us fucking ages to get an audience out of a place because everyone fights to get out the door, and they just go through the door in single file and it gets them out the door in fucking seconds. We're so chaotic in the West. It's so weird how we just still don't take tips from places like Japan. But Japanese crews are amazing, and there's no language barrier because the job's pretty obvious. Get the gear on, play the show, get the gear off, pack up. And that's what they do. But they do it, and no disrespect to Western crews, I've never seen anyone as efficient as Japanese crews. Japanese venues, invariably, anything to do with music in Japan, well, everything, but especially in music, in my field of expertise, is done more efficiently than it is done in the West. And there's never any communication barrier. I've lived in places where I didn't speak any Japanese, they didn't speak any English, and we communicated. You know, my favourite bar, my favourite restaurant, didn't speak a word of English, and we always communicated. Although sometimes you think, I wonder if I communicated correctly about the food, because you're looking at this menu, especially this Korean barbecue I used to go to, and I'd say, what is this? What is this meat? And they make an animal noise. And I don't know if you know this, but in different countries, people make different noises for animals. Cock-a-doodle-doo here in Sweden, I think, is kuckalaku, kuckalaku, and bar is meh in Sweden. So, but in Japan, you can imagine it goes even fucking madder. So I'd say, you know, what is this? And they do some, I'll be like, is that as in woof? And God knows what I've been eating. But we communicated perfectly. Communication barrier is never a problem in Japan somehow. Richard from Wednesbury asks, I've often wondered how you choose your support bands. Do I get the final say, or does the label pick them? I get the final say. I pick the support bands. And who's the best and worst support bands you've had? Well, I like them all. I get to pick them all. But I do try to pick support bands that I think you're going to like. And I don't always get it right. So when you ask who's the best and the worst, I'd have to say the best and the worst from your point of view. Because, you know, there's bands like Group Dog Drill. I got Group Dog Drill. I loved Group Dog Drill, and our crowd didn't really get into them. But the surprising one was I got The Darkness in. You know, they were first starting out. I don't think they toured with anyone. And I just thought, oh my God, it sounds like... Someone described The Darkness to me as, God, I saw the worst band the other day. They sounded like Journey and Queen if the singer from Sparks was singing from it. And I just remember just thinking, you described my perfect band. I didn't take into consideration that he didn't like them because they didn't sound traditionally rock. That's exactly what I liked about them. But I was amazed that they went down so bad with our crowd. I gather a lot of people like them, but they didn't springboard like some bands like Black Spiders and I think Three Colours Red did. Stuff like that, where the crowd just was like on board from the first note. So yeah, I would say that, you know, the best to me were Group Dog Drill and The Darkness. And the worst for you, I think, were Group Dog Drill and The Darkness. There you go. That's why I pick bands that I know you're going to like and you don't fucking like them. What an arse about tit way of answering a question that was. I'll maintain radio silence and I'll be your monster about or in reference to CG. No, they're not. Unless my song is a love song about one of my kids or something, or my dog, I don't really write songs about any person. I write songs about a type of person. The maintain radio silence is about people who act the victim, otherwise known as narcissists. Now, a lot of people fit into that bracket, and maybe people that you think the song is about isn't about them, but it's about people that they are similar to. If people act the victim, if people just keep going on about, you know, or so and such and such is going wrong in my life. You know, it's a narcissism, isn't it? You know, you're complaining about stuff. Don't complain. Try and do something about your little circle of control that you're in charge with, but complain about stuff that you're not in control of. That strikes me as being a bit of a victim. And Maintain Radio Silence is all about victims that apportion blame for other people. Stuff that's going wrong in their life and they're blaming other people for it. Well, the song is basically saying, if you don't look at the problems in your life, the ghosts that are following you around from your past, and you're just going to blame someone else for that, or blame a situation, or you're deflecting. All you're doing is deflecting from the work that needs to be done on you. And if you're not the sort of person that can look in the mirror and go, you know what, the problem is me. If I've got problems in my life, the problem is me. What do I do to fix that? What am I looking at? What are we dealing with that I haven't really sorted out from my past? If you continue to ignore the problems that are in your life that are causing you unhappiness, you are causing you unhappiness. And if it's still causing you unhappiness, then you're not working on it, and you continuously blame other people, and you do develop narcissism. It's just the way that it fucking goes. So that song is about narcissists, and there's a lot of people around that play the victim, and that fits into the narrative of the song. But no, it's not a song about any one person. That would be far too flattering. John E asks, in the lyrics of Fire in the Cheap Seats, you're saying goodbye to a few women, including Wendy. Is this the same Wendy who was killing you in the song on Yoni? Yes, actually. Wendy was one of the women in my life that got away, namely because of my behaviour. And, it was just Fire in the Cheap Seats. It's about what I've just been talking about, putting your big boy pants on and facing up to the problems in your life that aren't going away. My behaviour, my behavioural patterns, my behavioural loops have ruined a few relationships. Obviously, it takes two people to fall out, but I'm just not into the idea of blaming anyone else. So the only blame apportioned is on me, and I can't blame myself if I've worked through the problems, or I'm working through the problems. It's a fucking good thing. I think I'm fucking awesome for doing it. And anyone else that is working through their own problems is also awesome. And anyone blaming anyone else for their problems is not as awesome and needs to sort themselves out and grow the fuck up. But yes, it's the same Wendy. And lovely lady. And she fucking hates me right now and doesn't speak to me anymore. And I don't blame her, because I used to be a right cunt. Fungal Bill. Fungal Bill says, why did we never see a follow-up to Black Leather Mojo? Well, we did start recording it, and then life just took over. Life will do that. It'll just start going this way and that way, and it'll fuck with your plans. But we did start recording a follow-up, and I remember being in the studio with Connie and doing a few songs like Walk Like a Motherfucker, Last Bastard in Heaven. There's a few songs like that were going around. It just didn't work. Didn't work for whatever reason. Just Silver Ginger 5 just didn't catch on. I think it was just before us. A lot of the ideas that I have are before that time, and I don't say that in a kind of I'm fucking great thing. I say that in a kind of I seem to have shit timing. Silver Ginger 5, the elements of Silver Ginger 5 that didn't work, did work a few years later when The Darkness came out. So I probably was just a few years too early. That happens a lot in music. But it didn't kick off. I ended up doing something else. Do you have any experience, asks Steve Pluck, of microdosing mushrooms for treating depression or anxiety? What are your thoughts on this? I fully believe that alternative medicine for extreme forms of depression is the only hope. All this fucking therapy that doesn't work and fucking tried and tested drugs that don't work. My personal depression is non-responsive form of depression, and I'm forever asking the doctors, is there any way I can get treatment by psilocybin or treatment on ketamine or even cannabis treatment? No. Flatline, no. You look like someone who's wants to get high. And I'm like, after 60 years you still think I'm trying to get a buzz from fucking the mental health system? There's drugs on the street. If I want a buzz, I'll buy drugs. But the whole thing is fucked. I think the only hope that people have got, and I think it's very dangerous when you put your hope into the system, because they'll fucking rape that hope and they could fucking kill you. So don't put any hope in the system for coming out with, especially a system that refuses you to try things like microdosing mushrooms or microdosing LSD or microdosing ketamine. They're forms of treatment that are working in other countries, in other cultures. Ketamine treatment is doing wonders in India. Mushroom treatment is doing wonders in America. And Britain is fucking big fat Victorian orange of a fucking thing. I really do. It's got a dissociative qualities, these new treatments. And I think disassociating from the voices that want to do harm, I want to think negative thoughts that puts you in this depressive spiral. Disassociating yourself from that enables you to do the work on fixing yourself. It's like a painkiller. If you've got a bad back, you need to have a cortisone shot to be able to do the core work to strengthen your back. Well, these disassociative drugs help your mind do exactly that. They take the emphasis from the negativity, put you in a neutral frame of mind where you can work on your positivity. Every time I go to see any of these mental health experts, I end up fucking educating them on this shit, and they haven't got a fucking clue. They think that people with depression walk in with a black cloud of rain over their head, or people with tattoos all just want to get fucking high all the time, which I don't anymore. But in extreme cases, I think, yeah, any dissociative drugs are the way forward. They're not just a help, they're essential. They're the only way to bring the suicide rates down. That's what I believe. A couple of quick ones before we go. J.R. Remke says, what exercise equipment do you have in the room that causes pain? Oh, the pain room. Oh, Maggie follows me in the pain room every day. The pain room is just a bench and loose weights. That's all that's in there. And tons of pictures, because I get really bored and I hate being in there and I hate working out. Fucking hate it. But yeah, it's a bench and a bunch of loose weights. That's all I have in there. Nel Mondo says, would you ever play any of your solo songs with the band? No. I really do believe that the wild arts is different. And I know a lot of people don't. And I say, as a writer, it's still the same guy writing the songs. So there is a similarity between the wild arts and my solo stuff. But for me, a wild art song has a certain spirit. That spirit, when focused and intensified, doesn't exist in the solo stuff. The solo stuff is a lot more free-spirited. It's allowed to get away with a lot more, whereas the wild arts has kind of got not parameters, but a shape, if that makes any sense. So no, I wouldn't want to cross collaborate on those. I like the idea of doing a solo show or a few solo shows that's just a big long set full of all the solo stuff for anyone that cares to come down and just hear all this from the solo projects and all the rest of it. And then when the Wild Arts comes in, all they hear is Wild Arts songs in a Wild Arts advertised set. And I want to keep it like that. Tom Deadbeat says, what band have you seen the most times? Motorhead, because we toured with them most. Or AC/DC, actually. Motorhead or AC/DC. I've done a lot of tours with both bands. Getting to see them for free every night was definitely the best part of going on tour with those bands. Never missed a show, never got bored. Never saw Motorhead or AC/DC put on less than 100% in their shows, and it was a massive inspiration. Who's the best live band you've seen? Oh, there's the Prince story. Remember the Prince story I told you, where we were in if anyone wants to, it was Prince, but if anyone wants to know the Prince story, and I'll go into it in detail, I'll do it now, fuck it. We were in a party at the Astoria, and it was a Prince after party, and he was playing Wembley Arena. And he was supposed to be coming down. And there was rumours going around he was going to be playing. But, the Astoria stage was empty. And there was about 13 people in. Well, there must have been about 30 people that whittled down to about 13 people by about midnight. But the bar was open and it was free. And people like me didn't used to leave parties when that was the case. 1 o'clock comes and there's even fewer people in there. And the stage is still empty. He's definitely not coming and he's definitely not playing. It gets to about 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is back when venues used to fucking kick everyone out at 2 in the morning. He must have hired the venue for the whole night. 2 in the morning, there's a bit of a scuffle. There's even fewer people in. And there's a bit of a scuffle on stage going on. What the fuck's going on? And then a couple of burly crew members wheeled this gear on. The drum kit was on a platform with wheels. The amps were on platforms with wheels. And he had the gear on and the band started. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And the band started within minutes of nothing happening for fucking years, nothing happening, to all of a sudden there was a band playing. But it wasn't just the band. It was Bootsy Collins on bass, Shaka Khan singing, Prince on fucking guitar singing. Fuck knows who else was in the band, but probably all the best players in the whole wide world playing at 2 in the morning to an empty fucking Astoria, all because Prince wanted to do it. And he would do things like, I just rock up at 2 in the morning. You know what? I'd like to do things like, I'd love to have the budget to be able to just do stuff like that. You know, rent me a venue that closes at 2 o'clock and keep it open all night and make sure that everyone leaves the party by the time we turn up. And then we're going to play. And he played for fucking ages. He must have played for 2 hours. That was the best one, because it came from nowhere and it was so fucking good. If you can imagine, fucking great. Anyway, another couple, and then I'll leave you. I love the in-depth ranking you did for your Wild Arts albums. I often hear you mention you carry most of the load of songwriting. Members weren't interested in learning more songs. I'm not saying that it's unfair to say they weren't interested in learning more songs. They were just convinced that all people wanted to hear was the first album. It was more the case, and that annoyed me more than them being too lazy to learn other songs. They just want to play the first album now. I'm the writer, and that's not going to float my boat as much as it floats theirs. My question is, what percentage of the music and lyrics do you think you wrote 100% for each of the Wild Arts albums yourself? No, not 100%. I used to want someone, at least in the band, to write one song an album. I'd try and encourage it to be more. In various seeds, you would write one song an album. 21st Century Love Songs, no one wrote anything. But I tried to get people to write for the album. And if there wasn't someone, if someone didn't have a song on the album, it was because they didn't come up with anything and I had to write everything. So by default, apart from that, one song by someone else. And sometimes I would help with that song, just arrangements and lyrics and stuff, you know, because lyrics is my thing and not everyone likes writing lyrics. And I'd often, you know, help out and not want to credit. But if there's a song that's got my name on it, 100% of the lyrics are mine. 99% of the stuff you hear on any records that I've ever made is my stuff. But I do try and encourage other people to get involved. I'm not a control freak. I just like getting things done. And the last one is Phil Cases. Absolutely love your home. What is the next artwork that you plan on buying? There's fucking loads. I'd like this guy here, Joffre Boschart. He's one of these kind of Hieronymus Bosch kind of surrealist guys, but he's from the 20th century. He's working in the 19th century and died in the 20th century. But there's stuff for his still on sale. It costs a fortune. An absolute fortune, and I can't afford that much money, but if I ever get a load of money in, I'd love an original Joffre Boschart, I'd love an original Chris Cooksey piece. I've got lots of little Chris Cooksey pieces, but his stuff isn't, it's all little, but it's fucking, the final pieces are big and they cost tens of thousands of pounds. I'd like that. I've got a lot of great artists, contemporary artists that I would like to buy their artwork, but it just costs too much. But one day, maybe, you know, I'm happy with the stuff that I've got. I got through them all. I got through my little pile of questions, and now I'm going to fuck off and take Maggie for a walk. But thank you for getting through. I hope this worked. If it didn't work, you're never going to hear it. I do apologise to producer Phil for having to edit all my bollocks. And to you lot, thank you for putting up with me. And I fucking love you all. I'll see you out there on that long and lonely road. Take care of yourself and enjoy the sunshine. Peace, bye.